I'm going to go ahead and share. And as I would distribute, I'm very inclined by AI and by human that I am responsible for all things enablement at Databricks. Databricks, for those of you who might not know, is a leading data and AI company, and I have the immense pleasure of running enablement for them. And what this means is that ideally, me and my team, we spend a lot of time thinking about the people on the journey of data and AI. So let me start off first by saying that there is so much interest in AI, and a lot of people talk about the AI momentums. There are organizations around the world that are saying that they have found so much productivity that they're able to let a whole bunch of human workforce go because of data. But if you really look at the landscape, the entire AI momentum, which is driving this need for data and AI skills, we know that because from our data, or from this source in this case, it's saying that only 5% of organizations actually see any substantial ROI with AI. So as we heard, the people which too, that we don't want to do just the super expensive experiment, but really want to make AI successful. And from our point of view, the heart of this transformation to really take this ROI work are the people. And when people are upskilled and a large percentage of their workforce is ready, then you can really start seeing the transformation happen. But it doesn't just start with upskilling. I mean, it starts with upskilling people, but it doesn't just stop there, because those people also have to fundamentally know how to use the platform, and then they have to redesign the processes that actually help shape and reinvent the world. For those of you who've been in the industry a while, know that this people process that I just did on this slide is not new. It's not new for AI. It's whether we did cloud, whether we did the internet, whether we did mobile, whatever it was, you always needed these three pillars to be successful with AI. So I think, again, it's real data that is showing that organizations are not going to be successful by just putting this out as another or sharing it with everyone to say let's not do it. So not because I run an agent, being at the heart of this transformation and how people's going with AI are people. Upskilling the talent, usually ensure that they have what it takes is really required to get to use this massive opportunity that lies ahead of us. And again, here's another study that 94% of leaders that we talked to actually said that they don't have the right critical skills. They have significant shortages with skills, right? People don't have the right amount of AI skills. They don't know how to use it. They don't know when to use it. And then those that were able to do that, a large number of people felt that they were inadequately trained in interactive ability with the platform. So again, throwing out too many tools was not sufficient, and these things really caused the innovation to be completely stalled. So I think the core point here is that there is a lot of technology out there, including the one that Databricks creates. Some amazing technology out there. But when the people in the heart of all of this are not set up to actually use it correctly, it is not been configured for them to use correctly, they're not going to be successful. And then even when they start using it, when the processes are not fully substantiated or fully changed to so that they can truly benefit from productivity, you can see all these out in a but money that is put into it, but not a lot of results. So at Databricks, one of the things that we've noticed is that when you think about AI automation for organizations, you see a whole set of things happening. The first phase of this is that people are using everything. They're using Gemini, they're using ChatGPT, Perplexity, there's all kinds of LLM models. And they're using that, but in a very limited capacity. Sometimes people are just using it to create slide decks that look like AI-generated slide deck that don't actually create any substance to what is happening. We call this the AI slop. And there is a lot of that is going on right now. The very fluffy, very big documents, decks, emails, whatever, that nobody ends up reading. And I heard a great podcast from the OpenAI CEO, Sam Altman, who actually said that the most common patterns they saw with chat in the early days was people using ChatGPT to write emails, and then on the receiving end, people using ChatGPT to summarize the email back into bullet points. So that's what we were using AI for. And in my mind, that is phase one, where there's really no use of the AI. You might as well not be using it if we are just using it to create what we call AI slop. The second phase is AI for all. Everyone is using it, but we can't really tell what is the impact of that. The second phase is a very dangerous one and can be a huge drain on your cost, because whether it's Claude Code or whether it is, whatever kind of coding experiments, whether you're software engineers or your curriculum developers like I have, everyone is using it, but you don't know if they're using it for anything meaningful and to really helping with productivity. So I call it the AI sprawl. It's right about here that I feel like the real transformation starts happening, that you move beyond individuals' models to something a bit more, but you still are not able to quantify anything productive. Is where we think you move into this third phase of meaningful adoption, where you can actually start measuring some incremental, sustained productivity improvements. This is a very hard thing to do, and most organizations, this is they struggle. We've created our data lakes, we have all of the data, we built these AI tools on it, but then we can't get it to a meaningful adoption phase, and we cannot really measure the productivity improvements that we are getting out of it. But this is a definitive phase 3, and I'll give you an example of this very quickly for how we see this being used. And finally, very, very few, again, back to my number, less than 5% of organizations actually get to this phase where they have established themselves AI first, and they're redesigning their processes to say, this is how things should work because AI can do all of these things, and therefore humans should focus on these. And their fundamental workflow has changed to becoming AI first. Very, very rarely like the organizations and customers truly adopt this. I want to walk through this with an example. As I was putting this talk together, it's so easy for me to talk in abstracts and say, this is what I see other organizations do. But I wanted to bring to this, to all of you, my own journey on this. And as an enablement leader, I have a team that has to deliver training across the globe, that has to build content, that has to think about curriculum. And I was like, what did we do? We've been on this AI journey for about 2.5 years now. And like everybody else, I think we also start, there are all these great tools. And guess what? We should start on something. So step 1, my own team said we would start on the journey. At step number 1, we have to agree what exactly were we going to do. This is a slide that I did not create for this talk. I just want to be very clear. This is a slide that we've had in place for over 2.5 years in my team now. And we said we needed these guiding principles to say when we were going to get on the journey, not everything was going to go right, but what were we going to prioritize and how we were going to solve with AI. So the first thing that we said to an on the team, we said we were going to proactively adopt AI. It's a very deliberate mindset shift that we needed in the team. And we said we were not going to wait for AI into us. We were going to be the force that causes AI in the organization. So it's a very deliberate step that I think is the mindset that you needed to change. So we wanted to redefine our own North Star. The second thing we said is if we were going to go on this AI journey, many things were going to fail. There will be many experiments that we run that will not work. And do we have, as an organization, the the muscle to deal with that? Is it going to be okay when our team puts in efforts into something and it doesn't work? We said, yeah, that's going to be okay. We're going to reward the failure just as much we reward the successes. The third one is, we said we were never going to use AI for AI's sake. We were going to find a problem and we were going to solve a problem with AI. Making tools available to everyone causes this third problem a lot, which is that AI sprawl that I just talked about. Is we wanted to solve real problems. And then finally, we are an enablement organization. We think deeply about people. And we said nothing that we were going to do was going to be counter to the people-first approach that we have. And we really wanted to think about how do we enhance productivity? How do we really augment our people? And we wanted to build everything with security and governance guardrails. So we were never okay with our company coming to us and saying, or our security team putting us and saying, why are you doing X, Y, and Z? So privacy, legal, we were going to follow all of that. I know it sounded like a lot, but then I have some real success stories as well. That when we started this, like I said, 2.5 years or so ago, a lot of things failed. We were also creating a lot of chatbots, and we thought all sellers would engage with those chatbots to answer questions. Guess what? Nobody did. And the chatbots were really terrible, and they did not give us any meaningful results or productivity enhancements. And that was a failure, but we learned so much by doing it that we said we're going to go and start doing something else. So the first phase was really low risk, quick wins, and we started using it for things that were really meaningful, like localization has been in the industry with AI for a very, very long time. But as a team, we were not using it very well still. And so we said, that's a no-brainer. We should be doing that. And so those were first phases, but we also had a lot of chatbots that failed. The second phase was where we said, what if we started to think a little bit more creatively and really start think about how can we drive efficiency with AI? And today we teach classes globally all over the world where we have hundreds and hundreds of people who want to come and join a Databricks class. But every time I ran this class, for 20 people, I would put an instructor, and then for the next 20 people, I would put another instructor, and for another 20 people, I would put another instructor. And pretty soon, I knew that this was not going to scale. So creating an AI-based virtual TA, a training assistant, allowed me to scale that in a much more meaningful way. So here we were trying to not redesign any of our processes, but just reimagine some of the work that we were doing in a very different way. It was not until this phase 3, which kind of happened for us last year, that we started thinking about what are the big bets? What are the things that we are not doing today that we could do with AI? And last year, we really unlocked for all of our sellers and field engineers globally, where we started doing AI role plays. So for those of you who are close to sales or who can understand this use case, where we said, if you had to practice how do you deliver a good pitch in front of a customer, what if you could do this in front of AI, and AI could give you, the role plays could give you feedback in a very meaningful way, and we could actually even create our certifications or our accreditations based on these AI. So I think because we were trying it out for a very long time, lots of failures, as you can see from all of these, we still could not create great content. But today, I definitely think we are an organization that thinks about AI first, that we are building our processes in a way that we are not thinking of, here was a workflow that I was doing in, 2020, and what can I do with AI? It's not how we think about it. Now we say, AI is assumed. If we needed to start doing something now, what can we use AI for? And then what are the things that humans must do? So it really started super small, lots of failures. And then once we figured out that something was working, we were able to scale it super fast. So I think this is a real recipe. Again, I can say this from my own experience, that the 4 phases that I showed you and sort of how we experimented and tried and went on this journey for ourselves was really important. And I can tell you that it works. but it really means that the entire organization has to get together, put your guiding principles in place, and just go, right? Like there is gonna be a journey to get onto that fully productive state, but AI transformation is here and people can help drive it. I'm gonna go to this next phase, but really say that we as the Databricks organization can, out of the enablement organization at Databricks, can definitely help. And it's not just about training, even though this slide talks about training. The idea is not to say that we can come and train you how your entire organization, or any organization for that matter, can truly adopt AI, but we can talk about how that helps people stay at the forefront of innovation, because Databricks itself is creating new tools, new products, helping you create those agents, make sure that your data is governed and that you have the right information being used by your AI tools. And so this data that I'm showing you here is exactly a study that our own team did with customers and organizations that said that it helped their team stay ahead, it helped them train and retain their talent. And again, since people are at the heart of this transformation, we really wanted to make sure that what we are producing actually helps these people solve some business problems. We also think about all of our enablement that we put out there to be really at scale, comprehensive, meaning we think about all kinds of roles. We're now getting on this journey, again in this AI board, of thinking about true in-the-flow workflow personalized learning. And what this means is that if Rochana is a data engineer who has experience with A, B, and C, but not with X, Y, and Z, it'll only create something that is covering the topics that you don't know. So it's really much more tailored, comprehensive, not just role-based, but truly personalized, and how we apply that with hands-on, and again, spinning up lab on the fly with the coach, with the tutor that people can learn and take. So I think we're reimagining how we do our work, but really do it at a way that it can scale for all customers, all users globally. Today, we train hundreds and thousands of people all across the globe. And we're doing that, of course, with a huge productivity boost with AI. I'm going to finish off by saying that Databricks can help learning services bring into organizations. We can bring the entire platform. We obviously have industry-recognized certifications as well. We are still using AI even there to actually help keep the exam items current. We do a lot of hands-on labs, tailored training for organizations, blended learning. And as you can see, like in all of this, you would think we have a massive organization that sits behind that. But we don't, right? It's a relatively lean team, and it all happened because we've been thinking about AI from the very get-go and imagining how we can change what we are trying to do and do that process redesign. I'm going to end here, but before I end, I wanted to take a minute to really just, this entire journey that I just talked about wouldn't have happened without the amazing partnership that we have with Tudip. So one huge thank you to Tudip yourself, the entire team behind it as well. Sonal, if you're in the audience, thank you again for being such a great partner and keeping us on this journey and helping us be successful. So with a huge sense of gratitude to all of you for inviting me here, thank you. And I genuinely mean it, that we're doing a lot of great things, but it wouldn't be possible without your partnership.
So Rochana, I got a question for you, right? So typically there was a time wherein there was a lot of conversation around POCs are happening, but the production is not happening. So POC to production was a big challenge. How are you foreseeing that? I mean, are we at a stage wherein we have reached this, maybe it's like a plateau, right? So there was a progression, upward trend. Have we reached that peak wherein POCs to production is an ongoing thing? What's your take on that?
Let me answer that one first. I think POC to production became hard because it was difficult to govern the quality of what these agents were actually trying to do, or what the models were actually trying to do. Over a period of time, I think the quality of the models and the quality of what the agent that we are creating has improved. So it makes it more meaningful to put it into production. It's the same thing for us, right? Like I talked about the virtual TAs that we are doing, but we've just never been confident enough. We've reduced the number of TAs, but it's never gone down to zero. And it cannot go down to zero because you still want a human in the loop to ensure that the model doesn't rip, that we don't actually create hallucinations, because then we just lose trust with our customers. And that's a very big thing to give up. So POC to production, I think a big chunk of that was overall quality and how you could ensure that quality for a while. And we just couldn't see that happening. But it is definitely getting better. I do see more and more customers using it in production now.
Hi Rochana. So Jay this side from Harsha Engineers. So I just want to, we have met your team elsewhere virtually. So my question is that AI absolutely in the finance and FMCG and other sectors, it is doing good. But when it comes to the manufacturing, so you will really see a lot of unstructured, lot of dirty data. So can you put insight that what are your strategies and initiatives that you are taking so that this industry can also come up to the pace what other sectors are currently doing?
Yeah, I don't have a specific example for manufacturing, but I can definitely look it up, and maybe Shweta and I can follow up with you offline. But I've definitely seen use cases for like, there was one that I recently saw a great demo for, even on how like on the floor, people were using AI to get instant support for machines, let's say, that needed to be like a support agent, but acting virtually, assessing the entire machinery on site, on the floor, and taking care of that. So, and again, here, the issue is not about removing the human, but making the humans that were doing the work more effective. So I've seen use cases of all kinds, even in manufacturing. We have a massive business in the manufacturing space, and and continuing to see the benefit of AI across all industries, including manufacturing. It's not just fins for sure. Media, entertainment, consumer, retail, like all of those, we are seeing amazing use cases there. I'm happy, like I said, to follow up offline and point out. I think even on our website, you should be able to see additional use cases there.
All right. Genie was everywhere. Like last week, right before Oscars happened, it was all about Databricks Genie. So my question to you is, and one of the things that I saw of Genie was the conversational interface for analytics. I mean, that's something that's very interesting. I mean, we are probably moving beyond just visualization. It's about talking to the analytics. Could you share something around that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Databricks again is doing this amazing work with Genie. And again, it's about providing value to the business and being close to the business. So I'll give you my own example. Every day, I love to go into the data, and I'm not a SQL programmer, or I did that many years ago, and I can't do that anymore. And I have an entire team of analysts who produce these amazing dashboards for me. And yet I feel like every day there are additional questions that I have that the dashboard doesn't give me. And then I'm pinging somebody, and then they are in turn going and asking, oh, can we update this dashboard because Roshan wanted to see it in a different way. And what Genie allowed me to do was just talk to my data in natural, plain English. And it was great because I could say, hey, can you tell me what it was last month? Can you tell me what it was last quarter? It actually knows what my quarter is. And it knows when my quarter started, when my quarter ended. What was I looking for? The way Genie works is it's really looking at your lakehouse, but it's allowing business users to interact with the data in plain English or whatever language. I speak to Genie in English, but it's really in whatever language I want it to communicate without ever having to worry about the SQL that went behind it. That said, if I did want to look at the SQL, for those who can, you can, and you can tailor it, and you can make sure that it is giving you the information correctly. So Genie is business users' best friend, is how I'm thinking about it. And I use this every day, and it's been really game-changing.
Thank you so much. I know it's really late for you.
Thank you all, everyone. Absolute pleasure. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the summit and have a great conference.